disrupt your farms. I used to work here.
These working conditions may seem harrowing, but one blue-skinned Mudokan slave named Abe still thinks he has a pretty good job.
That's me. My name is Abe. I was Employee of the Year.
But after stumbling upon Rupture Farm's plans for a tasty new product, Abe abandons his cleaning duties and sets out to escape the slaughterhouse.
Get me out of here!
So begins Oddworld New and Tasty, a remake of 1997's side-scrolling platformer Oddworld Abe's Oddysee. But we're not talking about simply upscaling the original game's pre-rendered 2D graphics. No, the entire game has been rebuilt from the ground up in real-time 3D. While Abe's Oddysee divided its levels into still screens, New and Tasty's camera scrolls with Abe as he walks, runs, and sneaks through Oddworld. It's a thrill to see areas from Abe's Oddysee that would have required traveling across 7 or so screens, rendered in New and Tasty with an impressive seamlessness. This new camera is also free to give a better look at the consistently gorgeous environmental design, which has lost none of the original game's style and detail in the move to 3D. For me, it felt like New and Tasty presented a literal depiction of Oddworld as my mind's eye saw it in 1997. Despite the new visuals, New and Tasty takes great care to retain the core side-scrolling platforming that distinguished Abe's Oddysee 17 years ago. Abe's a weakling, he's extremely fragile and lacking in offensive capabilities. He's more concerned with surviving his enemies than destroying them, and he does this by sneaking past them, outrunning them, or turning the environment on them when possible. Abe can hide in steam vents, lead gun-toting guards into landmines, zap them by activating electric fields, and occasionally he can possess a guard to temporarily turn his gun on his comrades. Abe's enemies are scary, powerful, and they exhibit unique identities. Possessing a slig guard lets you order slogs to kill another guard. Paramites won't attack unless you back them into a corner. Scrabs will attack on sight, unless they see another Scrab, in which case the two will ignore you and fight to the death. Exploiting these behaviors is the key to solving most puzzles. This mixes well with the environmental hazards in ways that never feel repetitive. But Abe's quest isn't solely about self-preservation. Along the way, he must free his enslaved Mudokan brothers by issuing them basic commands and leading them to portals. For all the traumatic ways that Abe can die in this hostile world, there's a slapstick quality to the dark subject matter when you have multiple frail Mudokans in tow. The variety of dialogue in New and Tasty has been greatly increased over the original game, so the Mudokans feel less like carbon copies of one another. And ragdoll physics make everything funnier. Trying to survive as a fragile character like Abe was something of a novelty when Abe's Oddysee was first released. He died in one hit, but he had unlimited lives. The same is true of New and Tasty, but this remake adds 3 difficulty levels, the easier of which lets you take more than one hit before dying. But even the classic one-hit kill difficulty level is still forgiving, as you can quick save by simply tapping the touchpad. Keep this in mind and you'll rarely lose much progress from what are sure to be repeated deaths. Unfortunately, those deaths sometimes occur because of how New and Tasty uses the analog stick for movement. In the original game, you controlled Abe's movement speed by holding down the shoulder buttons. This was important because the game required precise timing of sprints and jumps to avoid landing on mines or falling down chasms. New and Tasty changes this by putting 2 movement speeds on the left thumbstick. Pushing it slightly will make Abe walk, while pushing it harder will make him run. This led to a number of situations where I had to adjust my position by a single step, but I ended up running straight into a landmine. Thankfully, sneaking is still bound to a shoulder button, so it's rare that you'll accidentally wake up a slig and get shot. Despite occasional frustrations from this fiddly analog movement, and some fourth wall breaking in-game ads, This is a remake that feels as though it was crafted with love and respect. With clever puzzles near identical to the original game, and beautiful environments brought to life with new visuals and a dynamic camera, New and Tasty thoroughly satiated me, despite my being an Oddworld veteran and knowing each solution and secret area like the back of my hand.